Florence and the Machine, Dance Fever album review. Let's chat about it. Hey guys, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning. Here tonight to chat about this long-awaited album from Florence Welch and Company, Florence and the Machine, who, back in the day with their debut, Lungs, stormed their way onto every indie playlist ever. But that's not a bad thing. This album's got a lot going for it. I got the hype. Half of these tracks are damn anthems and ones that really stand up. Not only that, but the blending of different genres on this album, from indie pop to chamber pop to a little soul, some garage rock at times, indie rock as well as Baroque pop, made it a very, compelling listen. Not only that, but Florence's vocals alone are always worth the listen. Now, I know that I'm kind of in the minority here, but I was almost let down completely by their follow-up album, Ceremonials. Listen, I love Shake It Out as much as the next guy, I really do. But as far as quality-wise and consistency-wise, I thought this was Florence and Company's worst material. I still do. But my God, next time around with Florence and the Machine, they knocked it out of the freaking park. How Big, How Blue, How Beautiful is a freaking incredible album, and by far their best. It is so good. I mean, Florence's larger-than-life vocals often leave some pretty big shoes to fill all around, but for the first time, I thought that her and the Machine just put together an album that was consistent, well-wrote, well-performed all the way through. It's really good. Now, the last time we heard from Florence and Company, High as Hope, I thought it was okay. It's a solid follow-up. It's fine. Hunger alone is worth the listen, trust me. But compared to their last album, I was a little let down. I hate saying that. Now, it's been quite a while since we heard from Florence and the Machine. And for the most part, I thought these new singles were really sharp. This has been a highly anticipated album. It's just a big week for music, man. Let's chat about this thing. King is a great start. I've loved it since it dropped as a single. I think it's only grown on me ever since. It is a great, slow-paced, epic track that ushers in the very grandiose nature of this album. And there's a lot to really love here. I mean, you got Florence's vocals, which throughout this album are just so consistent. She is incredible. The pacing here is really great as well. I mean, it's not my favorite single, but it ushers in the sound of this album tremendously. Free, on the other hand, is much more upbeat. I love the pulsating rhythm throughout this track. I mean, a little energy never hurt anybody. This track definitely has it. But it ends up making Florence's already larger-than-life vocals just seem so much more commanding. This track is so good. It's so empowering. It's just an anthem, and I love that. When Florence and the Machine are onto an anthem, they knock it out of the park. Choremania is really good as well. The one thing I'm like, I shouldn't be shocked, but I'm shocked every time with Florence and the Machine that after all these years, Florence seems to find new ways of getting really intensely personal with her listeners. It's a huge plus for this album, and just being a fan of hers in general. This track is no different. A lot of these tracks are. Like, you feel these lyrics. It's so visual. It is so intense. Lyrically, this is massive. Alongside of this instrumental, which is constantly shifting, trying new things, seemingly uncomfortable in its own skin, this track is great. The pulsating beat, the classy strings, it's very classy. And by the end of this track, it's completely larger than life. I think this is really some of Florence and the Machine's best stuff in a while. Girls Against God is freaking flooring, man. I mean, as far as a ballad goes, this is a powerhouse. It's one of the heaviest and most impactful displays here. This one just kind of slowly patters along, just gaining more energy, gaining more momentum. And the instrumental, while seemingly pretty simple from a distance, actually has a lot of really intricate details that warm my heart. As far as the artsier, more Baroque pop side of Florence and the Machine, this is great. On the other hand, Dream Girl Evil is this sort of powerful, bluesy, very smoky track that I did not expect. I absolutely get a little bit of a throwback vibe here. It almost has I don't know, either a Fleetwood Mac or a Stevie Nicks vibe to it, but in the best way. It comes off so tasteful, and I don't want to beat a dead horse here and just repeat myself, but her lyrics, once again, are gutting at times and really riveting stuff. It's commendably done, honestly, and the drama behind this track, alongside her vocals, are really just the recipe for success. Oh, God. But don't hate me. Don't hate me here, but personally, this album is a little inconsistent, a little more inconsistent than I hoped. Back in Town, it's not my cup of tea. I mean, it's not the worst track here, but as far as a breezy ballad goes, I could tell you so many other tracks here that come off so much more powerful than this. We also get tracks like Prayer Factory. This is tough. I mean, I feel like I've been, beating the dead horse lately, chatting about interludes and instrumentals that go nowhere. In this case, an interlude. But this track comes off kind of like a toss-away thought. A song idea that really didn't pan out. I kind of wish it wasn't here. It doesn't do much more than just get me out of the great groove I was in. Sandra is not much better. Once again, as far as a ballad goes, Florence can do so much better than this. Come on. For a full-length track, this sounds more like a hodgepodge of ideas than anything. And there are moments where I'll hear a little bit of a melody or just some of Florence's vocals, and I'll really try and really get back into it for a second. But instrumentally, this is odd. This track is odd. Even when we got Heaven Is Here as a single a while back, I started to worry about the consistency of this album. I was worried that we would get some shorter tunes here that were lackluster or incomplete sounding. That's what we get here. It hasn't really grown on me either. And I hate to be a spoilsport, but Daffodil ain't cutting it either. Now, the pacing here is great. I actually really love the rough and tumble feel to this track. But, I hate to break it to you, but for once on this album, Florence is the one that's bringing this down for me. The magic just isn't working here for me anymore, at least not for the moment. Thankfully, though, Florence and company do, really hit it out of the park with some of the final tracks here. Look at My Love. This track is absolutely masterful from start to finish. This track is one of the best singles I've heard from any genre or artist all year. This is the track that I wanted. This is the track that hyped me up for this album. This is Florence Welch hitting the dance floor in this sort of disco environment, but it is so good. The larger-than-life vocals, this absolutely gigantic chorus, the production, which is great. It is an absolute knockout and easily one of the best tracks I've heard of any genre this year. But it's very confusing to me that, I didn't mention it, but Jack Antonoff has most of the production duties on this album. This is like one of two tracks he had nothing to do with, which is odd. But trust me, Restraint, I didn't need it. I don't really think it belongs here, especially when we get tracks like The Bomb. As far as a sort of airy chamber pop tune, this is absolutely awesome. I mean, Florence's performance alone, this is one of her most standout performances here, and this is an album full of great vocal performances. It's so smoky, it's so bluesy, it's got a little bit of a lounge vibe, but it's so classy, and it's done so right. It's very easy to get lost in, and I actually really like Morning Elvis as a finale. It's so whimsical and dreamy. Florence sounds like she's on another plane of existence. And even in an album that has, from start to back, been unbelievably personal and emotional, Florence still has ways to drop my jaw on this track, and that's something I will always salute her for. It's pretty damn stunning. This album, oh God, I wanted to love it. I wanted to just absolutely rave about it. I thought a lot of the singles were really awesome. The thing is, this is her best material in a while. Let's get that out into the open. By far, too. By far. The issue is there are some consistency problems. There are tracks here that sound incomplete or incoherent and just don't belong here. And that's really sad because this had potential to be the best Florence and the Machine album. And I'm sure a lot of people think it is because I get the hype. But for me, I'm feeling a decent 7. Don't hate me, but let me know what you guys think down below. If you like the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, guys.